Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm. This is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday's deep immersion of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the wisdom literature to connect the jiva with the divine. Powerful book. We're witnessing the transformation of ourselves. It's one of these experiments that you have to enter. We don't ask you to just have faith in this. We ask you to enter it and see if it works. We find that it does. We called it in our class the other day, called it psychic surgery. It sort of like gets in there and sort of like cuts out your ego without you wanting it to cut out your ego often. And when the ego's cut out and the mind is put at peace, all you're left is with what you are. We're pure spiritual beings that just forgot. The yoga process isn't a process of converting. It's a process of remembering what we already are. What do you think about that, Kaustubha?
That sounds so deep, Raghunath. Wow.
Very
Blowing
deep.
my mind.
The answers are blowing in the wind, Kaustubha. Me and Mara are exhausted because we went to see Gopal with our good friend Dustin from Albany, Dead President's Lounge. Yeah. Gopal, I'm learning so much from being with him. And we're reading. We didn't do a lot of Sweet Baby Krishna last night, but we just read from Ranchor Prime wrote a good book on Lord Chaitanya, and we're reading that. Yeah, we're reading that. Nice. It's and we're just saying how something like tragic, leaving your body and death and stuff like that. We're finding you add Krishna to whatever tragedy you're going through, and it becomes auspicious and beautiful and intimate. And there is a sadness, there's a gravity to it, but there's also a beauty to it and a bliss to it, because we're all doing it too. If we're doing this right, we're starting to notice that the material world is taken away. It's chopping away things that we possess. It's chopping away. Maybe sometimes we lose our home, or we lose our money, or we lose our love of our life, or we lose our health. And the material world is designed to just take away. And I'm really left with two options. You get bitter at the material world, or the circumstance, or the government, or the economy, or your spouse. You get bitter, or you grow and you get better. And we're all in the process here of seeing the world with a different set of lenses. When my mind is really clear and my mind is really focused and my mind understands what we're reading every day, it's like wearing a whole new set of lenses in this world. It's quite beautiful. And I tell you, I'm learning these lessons every time I go to Gopal's and read with him.
Beautiful, Robert. And that kind of plays into today's nugget. I don't know if you got it, though. Did you get the nugget?
Check my nugget device. Check my... Oh, I got a message from you. I didn't get it, man.
I sent it.
But yeah.
WhatsApp. Yeah.
Oh, what's that? Okay.
But maybe Mara could share with us any announcements while you're searching for that.
Yeah, we have Bhakti Recovery Group meetings today. The men are meeting at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
The women meet at 2 p.m. today. And then there's also a lot of our events are listed up on our website now at wisdomofthesages.com. You can go to the Sage Academy tab to sign up for retreats and find out more info.
All right.
Age Academy. It's happening. Exciting things.
Yeah.
We got a secret announcement that I'm just going to share because it's not so secret, but Madhava's coming to the farm during that Wisdom of the Sages Satchidananda Maharaj retreat. Madhava's showing up. We're excited to have him. What a beautiful
great
call.
Kirtan singer.
He's the Kirtan guy. Mm-hmm. Okay, you ready for your nugget? Now, by the way, Kaustubha, your mic sounds a little weird today.
Does it?
Yeah.
It does.
What's going on with the mics?
What's up with the mics? It's usually everybody. FYI, it's usually me. Something's wrong with me during the course of the day, and I'm the first to know about it and they're right. But today, Kaustubha's mic is not perfect.
Oh, here we go.
There you go. All right, so I'll read the nugget while you mic adjust.
I think I got it now.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
This is from Herman Hesse. It's Herman Hesse week. We have to do rock and roll week. Can we do next week rock and roll lyric nuggets?
Maybe.
There are a lot out there.
Yeah.
You know, I could name a few off the top of my head from Bob Dylan and Neil Young.
You want to do Herman Hesse week this week?
This is Herman Hesse week. Next week, rock and roll. And that includes punk rock, alternative.
No, if you're going to do like hardcore, then we just have to do like hardcore week.
Well, we could have hardcore week, and then we could have rock and roll week.
I think classic rock will be a little bit easier.
Yeah, hardcore.
Unless you do all Shelter lyrics.
I'll do hardcore week. You do rock and roll week because I don't know anything about rock and roll. And then we'll both do punk rock week.
All
right. This is exciting.
It's not easy though. You think it's easy, but to find good ones, you know, it's a little bit subtle.
You got to dig. Sometimes you got to look deeper into the meaning of
you have to look deep.
Urban waste. It's real,
but it's all there.
Okay, ready? This is from Herman Hesse. Continuing on with Herman Hesse week.
Okay.
I have had to experience
so
much.
So this is from Siddhartha.
It's from Siddhartha.
This is actually Siddhartha speaking, I believe, to Govinda, his friend. You know, the book starts with the two of them are sitting in their village. They're young men. They're doing their meditations, and being dissatisfied with where it was leading. Siddhartha determined, I'm going to wander off and seek, deeper wisdom. The two of them go off together, and then eventually they separate. And Govinda kind of follows, I guess he followed the Buddha, so he kind of became like a strict Buddhist.
Right.
And Siddhartha kind of delved into debauchery, he went another direction. Wow. And so this is when he gets back, but somehow he came out of that and found his enlightenment, which is something we could discuss. And then he later meets, by chance or by divine arrangement, he bumps into Govinda again. And I believe this is him sharing with Govinda, the nature of the path that he followed.
Want to hear something kooky? My kooky speculation?
Yeah.
Check this out. What year did Herman Hesse die? You know?
No idea.
1962. 1962.
Okay.
There's every reason, with all of his insight,
that he was reincarnated.
And he got reincarnated and became a devotee.
It's possible. It's possible.
After reading this book, wouldn't you think this guy could be a devotee very easily?
Well, yes.
He's probably on no path. He was probably on no spiritual path, but he was probably a deep thinker, philosopher, occult.
What do you mean he was on no path? This guy was he was.
He was not in part of any particular tradition. He probably had a huge, incredible library. He probably had the Bhagavad Gita. He probably had the Dhammapada. He probably had Siddhartha. He probably had an interesting spiritual library.
I think he had a copy of that line around.
He probably had a copy of Siddhartha. No one's buying this book. They will, trust me.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean.
Really big in the '60s. Yeah, it's possible. His impersonalist, his monist leanings were quite strong. So it's a little hard to say. He would have to,
well, I think everybody's was, but then they meet a Vaishnava, and all of a sudden their heart changes.
Good point. So then that would have been.
It could be somebody here on Zoom is Herman Hesse.
It could be.
That's the interesting thing.
Could be you, Raghunath. You
I'm
might
most
have written
likely
Siddhartha.
wasn't. I most likely wasn't Herman Hesse.
You might have written Siddhartha. It's possible.
I-
Well, read your book to us now. Raghunath.
This comes so natural to me. Okay.
Let's hear it.
I've had to experience so much stupidity, so many vices, so much error, so much nausea, disillusionment, and sorrow, just in order to become a child again and begin anew. I had to experience despair. I had to sink to the greatest mental depths, to thoughts of suicide, in order to experience grace. You know what this reminds me of, Kaustubha? Let's put Mara on the hot seat right now.
Oh,
What are the
okay.
4 types of people that, according to the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, and Karuna is going to jump all over you on this one, Mara. Get ready. What are the 4 types of people that are pious, that surrender to Krishna?
Those who are in distress.
Yep. So this
One,
sounds like the
she's
person in
suffering.
great distress, right?
She's
They
off to a good
had to
start.
go to these dark places.
Mhm.
Maybe like the people are coming from our recovery queen and Jiva, like they're in such great distress due to an addiction that they're like, I'm going to die or I'm going to turn to God.
Mara's like,
That's
just keep going. I'm Googling over here.
I was about to put help on the chat board, but
Now, interestingly enough, Mara's not one of those persons. She didn't come in distress. She came for another reason.
Okay.
What was
those who
that
are
reason?
inquisitive or seeking.
Inquisitive.
Yep.
The inquisitive seeking knowledge. She was like, okay, this stuff sounds interesting. That guy Raghunath seems very, very deep.
Mhm.
Those who are seeking wealth.
Yeah. People thinking, you know what? I'm going to pray to God for money. I'm going to pray to God for money. That's the whole thing. Right. And
Mhm.
And the last one. Can I get a hint?
they're already sort of realized.
I think you may be conflating two, like a little bit with one of your previous answers. So.
Oh, those who are seeking, like Gyanis.
yeah.
No.
Is that the Gyani?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There you
So
go. Well done, Mara. Hey, a little
well done,
appreciation.
Okay. Good answer. Good answer. So I'm thinking like this whole thing is a very beautiful explanation of those who are pious, but distressed like anything. Right.
Karuna, the Karuna, 8 years old in Lebanon, just pointing out Mara is looking at the chat. She watches these things and she knows. She
Mara,
knows Raghunath.
I
Karuna's
knew
like a
I knew
spy.
there was only one on the chat board. I already knew that one.
Okay.
You and Karuna can slug it out later, Mara. Let's go.
After the show, we're gonna have a little meeting.
Like Mara's like, Karuna may know more than me, but I got a lot more boxing experience.
Exactly. Bigger than her.
All right.
Oh, Karuna say I could take you on.
All right. So this is good. This is good, Kaustubha. This is
Yeah, that's not good. Let's
getting
go
your
deeper into it.
face ground into the dirt sometimes, laying in the gutter, opening your eyes and looking up at the stars. Like, I got to get out of this place.
Well, and the way that it was expressed too, he says that he mentions stupidity, he mentions so many vices, so much error, and then nausea, sorrow, disillusionment, in order to become a child again, to begin anew. And he also mentions, I had to experience despair. I had to sink into the greatest mental depths, to thoughts of suicide, in order to experience grace. So this is interesting. It's like we walk around so proud. Even, what the saying is that the pauper is proud of their penny, right?
Yeah. Check out my penny.
Even, what
It's amazing, isn't it?
Whatever we know, we think we're super, we know more than everyone else. Whatever we have, we think. But for grace to open up, or to begin to have to go to deeper levels of understanding, we need to be humble. Humility becomes the conduit, right? Humility becomes the conduit. I need to become a child again. What's a child? A child is like, I don't know anything. I need to know everything. I'm just asking questions because I don't know.
Asking the most basic questions. Why do we use a fork and not a spoon? Why don't we just make sporks all the time? Right? I still ask that question. Why do we have both of them?
So Oh, there he goes. We lost him. Okay. So in any case, it is so there's in Siddhartha, and maybe we can speak a bit more about Siddhartha this week, but like there's so much in Siddhartha I appreciate. There's a bit that I just have a little trouble with. Yeah, I have a little trouble with, and part of it is around this is that maybe the main theme in Siddhartha is what we discussed. I think it was last week where we said that wisdom is something that can't be given from one person to another. Knowledge you can give, but wisdom is something that one has to discover on their own, or at least let's say one has to cultivate on their own. It can't just be given. So the way that Siddhartha plays out is that it's kind of a contrast between the paths of Govinda and the path of Siddhartha.
Refresh my memory. Does Govinda go like he joins the temple, so to speak, and becomes like a strict in rules and the regulations of the particular ashram?
At first, they go off with these samanas that seem like they're almost like Naga Babas or something like that, right? They're mystics. They're super austere tapasvis. And from them, Siddhartha learns, he gains like mystic power and insight and so on. But he's still not satisfied. And Govinda's the kind of guy that's always like, look, it's like it's working, and like we're getting somewhere. And Siddhartha's like always like not sad. No, this isn't the real thing. And then they hear about Buddha, right? And so they go to hear from him, and he's got thousands of followers and so many people. His fame is spreading, and he's going from village to village. And when they hear from Buddha, he's very impressive. And and Govinda, who's always been Siddhartha's follower, just spontaneously like, I'm following Buddha. This is it. And it's almost like he assumes that Siddhartha will too, his old friend, childhood friend, because it's just he's speaking with such clarity and insight, and he's obvious and just in his being, and it seems to be manifesting the deepest spiritual peace. But Siddhartha, he on some kind of very subtle level, he feels that by following Buddha, he will also kind of like, I should go back and look again as it's rephrased, but as it's phrased in the book. But he feels that it'll be somehow slightly artificial, or slightly giving up. That he won't be fully digging into the depths of his own self that he needs to dig into by being a follower of Buddha. So he wanders off, and that's when he decides that I'm going to experience the world sensually, And he meets a prostitute, and he gets into business, and he gets into gambling, and he gets into alcohol, and he just goes deeper and deeper and deeper into that.
All those things are so fun, aren't they?
Well, and then he ends up like distraught.
Just kidding.
Yeah, he ends up distraught, and that's and going into those depths, as this nugget today was saying, he began to realize something that he apparently would have never been able to realize just by following Buddha. And my point is, I like this nugget because it's saying that we should learn to turn our sorrows or our distress into something positive. But I don't buy into the idea that one must do this, right? And it's kind of like, oh, poor Govinda, like the guy never really got into the real thing, he was just a follower. No,
right.
You can follow sadhana and go very, very deep into it and gain all the insights. You don't have to. Life will give you suffering enough to learn from. You don't like have to make it happen. But
nothing's necessarily wrong with being a follower. It's all depending on who you're following. If you're following someone who's leading a very dharmic and spiritual, we're all going to follow somebody. And some people have a tendency to lead, and some people have a tendency to follow. Yeah. If you're really like a really follower, you just got to find the good people that you to follow, a good crew of people, a good leader, good teacher.
If you can become a child again without going through all that, actually, your path is, you're a bit wiser, If Siddhartha had to crash like that to become humble again, right? Then, and maybe that was because, he's such a great writer, Herman Hesse, and the way that it describes Siddhartha, he's super intelligent, he's super handsome, he's kind of like, He's walking around his village, and he's the son of a brahmana, and everyone can see he's just like, this guy is special. He's very special. And we can see in his meditations and how quickly he learns and so on. And when you're like that, pride is an issue. Even though you have all these apparent, favorable assets, for spirituality, if you're not humble, you don't penetrate very deep. So maybe Siddhartha did have to be humbled, in that way. But it doesn't mean that everyone needs to be. If you can be that child, if you can assume, not assume that I know more than everyone, then hopefully life will give you enough, will send enough hard balls or curve balls or whatever at you, and you can learn from them.
Professor Kaustubha, may I share a bit of irony?
Yes, do so.
Hermann Hesse, check this out. Hermann Hesse's parents lived in India as Christian missionaries.
Right.
Interesting.
Why is that irony? What's ironic about
irony?
that?
Because it must have impacted him where he started studying these books from the East.
That's not irony. That's just like you just drew a little causation there. Okay.
Why is that irony? They're going to like bring back these Abrahamic traditions that sort of like, this is it. This is the final thing.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
The world,
like
and their very own son got
okay.
influenced by that tradition and has spread a whole sort of different, like a broad-minded approach to spirituality.
In other words, the Christians would have been better not sending them there. Because their son ended up bringing
them
Eastern
in the
thought.
German for. They were in the.
I think he was Swiss. Although I may be wrong.
He was from the Black Forest in Württemberg.
Okay.
Hall in Württemberg, the German Empire.
All right. So it's Hermann Hesse week this week on Wisdom of the Sages.
That's okay.
Maybe I'll draw from other texts besides.
Yeah, draw from other texts. I want to hear from Steppenwolf.
I've never read Steppenwolf, but this Narcissus and Goldman, that's got some good stuff in there.
Okay. And I'll find out little interesting details about his life. And we'll have a little Hermann Hesse party.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do that.
All right. Let's say we get into
Srimad
the book,
Bhagavatam.
the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Amala Purana.
Spotless Puranas.
Yeah. Narayanam namaskritya nanam chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamadhirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesh vabhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised in transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnana Anjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Minatam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. We were saying by rendering service. Okay, so it's by regular study in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee.
To the Bhagavatas.
To the Bhagavats. So one way to do that is you share the Bhagavatam with other people. That pleases the great devotees. The guru, if you have a living guru, or the guru lineage, becomes very pleased when people give the Bhagavatam to others. It's our greatest gift we can give someone direction. If you're driving with your Lamborghini, but you don't have the GPS, you're driving in circles. You're lost driving around. Once you have that GPS, now, this is how to get out of the city. So the best gift we can give somebody, and the acharyas, the masters, the great gurus, they all appreciate, look at this. Kylie Brown, Lori Pag, Yogeshwari, they're just giving away this knowledge and they become pleased. And this is how that next benediction of that verse comes true. All that is troublesome to the heart becomes eradicated. Hearing regularly and giving it away.
Okay.
Good morning. Good. All right, let's dive into this.
Are we on, Mara?
Reading from Canto 4, Chapter 16, Text 23.
Text 23.
Bards are continuing.
glorifying Maharaj Prithu.
Okay.
When the lion travels in the forest with its tail turned upward, all menial animals hide themselves. He's hunting. That's what the tail up means. Similarly, when King
Do you know that, Raghunath?
More biology by Raghunath, I can help you out here. Only I know that just from my animal attacking videos.
Okay.
When the lion travels in the forest with the tail turned up, all the menial animals hide themselves. Similarly, when King Prithu will travel over his kingdom and vibrate the string of his bow, which is made of the horns of goats and bulls and is irresistible in battle, all demoniac rogues and thieves will hide themselves in all directions. This is part of the dharma of the king, is to protect. And if you're a little crooked, you're not interested in people who are fighting for dharma.
It's interesting, right? But like the way we live in such a different world that this type of government seems primitive to us, I suppose. The idea that who was the ruler? It was the person that took it, right? It was like the person that stepped up and said, I'm going to rule, right? And they would have to, stand up and defend it. But that being said, if in other words, they would have to be strong. And the strongest would be the one most able to grant protection. If there's someone stronger than someone protecting you, then they're not going to be able to protect you. And so the strongest would step up and take control. But they would always have to be guided by these wise people. And if they weren't actually protecting others, if they were becoming tyrants and exploiting, then the wise ones would find a way to remove them.
Come out. At the source of the river Saraswati, this king will perform 100 yagyas, sacrifices known as Ashwamedha. In the course of the last sacrifice, the heavenly king Indra will steal the sacrificial horse. So talking about a little preview of what's to come. Indra is like, man, this guy's powerful. I can't let him do 100. He's like competing with me. This is like the story of these earthly kings that were so powerful and so realized and so deep that even higher beings like Indra become almost a little jealous.
It's so instructive. That's going to come up in a couple chapters down the road. But how the apparently earthly king Prithu becomes the object of Indra's fear and jealousy, and how Prithu responds to that, because what Indra will do is so wrong on so many levels, and not only does he do it once and he's forgiven, he does it again. Right? And the way Prithu responds, and then again Lord Brahma comes and he's again going to be the voice of reason, but the way Prithu responds is there's so much about wisdom, there's so much about forgiveness to be found there. It's really good stuff. It's the kind of stuff you want to note down, keep with you your whole life, because it's really something to learn from. We will get there.
All right, text 22.
25.
Text 25.
Just pick one. Anyway, they're all good.
No, I didn't do 22 yet.
We started on 23.
Oh, that's why. I was like, this time I've got you, Kaustubha. Text 25. King Prithu will meet Sanat Kumar, one of the 4 Kumaras, in the garden of his palace compound. The king will worship him with devotion and will be fortunate to receive instructions by which one can enjoy transcendental bliss.
Right.
In this way, when the chivalrous activities of King Prithu come to be known to the people in general, King Prithu will always hear about himself and his uniquely powerful activities. No one will be able to disobey these orders of Prithu Maharaj. After conquering the world, he'll completely eradicate the threefold miseries of the citizens. Then he will be recognized all over the world. At that time, both the suras, right, the godly people, and the asuras, those who are like against the godly people, will undoubtedly glorify his magnanimous activities. Okay. It seems like these bards are quite mystical. They can see the future. They meet Prithu. They have some like vision.
Yeah, they've laid out what's coming up in future chapters. First, there's going to be. They mentioned earlier that like he'll draw from everything needed from the earth, but like the earth is going to be putting up some resistance. So I think the next chapter is going to deal with how he deals with the earth. Then we're going to hear about the rituals he was doing and how Indra became upset. And then we're going to hear the instructions that he receives from the four Kumaras. So many valuable instructions. And then that'll be it. And then I think we'll hear about the passing away of Maharaj Prithu.
Well, this is a little. That was our last verse from the chapter, and it might be a good time to sort of squirrel out into. It's an auspicious day today.
Oh,
very
yeah,
auspicious day today. Marius should have waited one more day before he got the car.
Well, maybe she can kind of inaugurate it today or something like that.
They always have car pujas. Car pujas. They do that. I wonder where that's from, car pujas. Obviously, cars are relatively new, and the pujas are very ancient. And they must have chariot pujas or something like that.
Yeah.
Give auspicious blessings. Mm-hmm. But anyway, today is Akshaya Tritiya. Right?
Mm-hmm. What is that? Tell us about it.
Also known as Akti or Akatij, is an annual Hindu or Jain spring festival. It falls on the third Titi, the lunar day of the bright half, right, the Shukla Paksha of the month of Vaishaka. It's regionally observed as an auspicious day. Okay, I want to know why. Let's see.
You want some information? I'll give you some information on it.
Yeah, what you got, sir?
Akshaya Tritiya is a very auspicious day according to Vedic astrology, Raghunath. As today the sun, which is giving life force to all beings, is placed on its most exalted position under the star Ashvini, where it will radiate the utmost life and healing energy. It's a good day.
Good day to heal, you dented cans.
Okay, in Sanskrit, the word Akshaya means the never diminishing. Hence, Akshaya Tritiya is a day which brings good luck and success. Performing charitable activities on this day will bring blessings. I was noticing, we were speaking about Kripamoy yesterday, right? Raghunath, it's so obvious that you're like, it is like so blatantly obvious.
I'm like Mr. Magoo,
especially when you don't have your glasses on. It's like
he's struggling to read something.
Yeah, but there are, it's said that when a father's daughter is being married, it's an auspicious day to give in charity, right? Mm-hmm. And you can see even like feeding all, like. I think a lot of people, weddings are opportunities for the family to show their opulence, right? And every aspect of that wedding, like the feeding of everyone, is kind of like, let me feed everyone on this auspicious day so that we'll receive blessings, and it's an auspicious day to receive blessings. And if one gives charity on this day, it's the understanding is like the benefit that you reap from it is long lasting on this day. Because of the astrological situation. So, this day, it's a day which brings good luck and success. Performing charitable activities on this day will bring blessings. The Vedic scriptures inform us that Akshaya means that which does not reduce. Therefore, anything started on this day will grow without diminishing.
It's a good day to start a project.
That's where we're going with this. Yeah, this is why it is very auspicious to initiate new beginnings in any area of our lives on this day, spiritual or material. We can plan to start working on whatever we desire in life today, and it'll get stable results. It is a day where things we meditate upon and pray for will bring great results. For example,
my God,
our spiritual wishes will get fulfilled and realized in our lives if you're able. It is recommended to do fasting on this day and to give donations and to perform special seva or service to your Ishtadeva, to your Lord. This will give great relief connected to any problems in relationships, financial or health areas. Akshaya Tritiya is also called Navana Parvam, and Akshaya Tritiya falling on a Rohini star Monday is considered even more auspicious.
Rohini Star Monday.
We're Rohini Star
That's a
Monday from
band.
Bayonne.
That's a song.
Okay. It was the first day when Ganesh, who removes obstacles on the path of bhakti, started writing the epic Mahabharata to
This
the
is
dictation
interesting.
of Vyasadeva.
This is interesting. It's the day of the Mahabharata was spoken to Ganesh.
Mm.
It's the day the Ganges descended. The Yamunotri temple and the Gangotri temple are open on these auspicious days.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the day that Sudam the Brahmin gave the flat rice to Krishna in Dwarka.
And Krishna gave to him.
Yes.
So much.
So
Yeah,
much.
so this because Krishna was given to the Brahmana, correct? Krishna was the Kshatriya given to the Brahmana. So he gave so much on this day. So this day is ruled by Lord Vishnu, and it is also traditionally celebrated as the birthday of Parshurama, the sixth avatar of Lord Krishna. According to the Vedas, on this day, the Treta Yuga began, and the rivers Ganges descended to the earth. There you go, Raghunath. On Akshaya Tritiya, Krishna received his friend Sudama and presented him with great wealth. On this day, Sri Vallabhacharya started the worship of Srinathji. Did you know that, Raghunath?
That I did not know.
Yeah. That's at Govardhan Hill, right?
Yep.
This is also the day where Chandan Yatra begins.
Oh,
know that?
how long does Chandan Yatra go for?
How long does it go?
Yeah.
I think I forget. Is it a couple weeks?
Day? Is it a week? I need an
forget.
answer for that. Mara, Google
Mara,
that.
Chandan
Brahma
Yatra.
says 21 days.
21 days.
21 days. So that's the day where you cover the deities with sandalwood paste. It's so cute. You take a deity, they're not wearing any clothes for the most part. They're just covered in this bright yellow paste, and you just see their eyes because the chandan cools the body, and it's sort of like
it's
getting
really hot now. in
hot
India.
right now in India.
Kaustubha,
that's
we
great.
also got some information from Damodar Priya on the chat board
Oh, it's
that
what's
Krishna blessed Draupadi on this day with Akshaya Patra, the miraculous vessel that would never go empty.
Oh, so we got some stories to tell here. Okay, let's finish up this reading and get to some stories. That's important.
Stories to tell.
Okay, so Chandan is offered for the next. Oh, there it is. Chandan is offered for the next 21 days to the lotus hands, feet, and heart of Krishna in order to relieve him from the heat. Oh, you see, this is a more esoteric reading, Raghunath. It's not just the heat of the sun, the summer sun.
What is it? The heat of
It
what?
says the heat of viraha bhava, feelings of separation from Shrimati.
It seems like your reading is a little bit more esoteric than my
Well,
Wikipedia Shastra.
I move in more esoteric circles. Raghunath, what can I say? My recommendation to you is that today you start earnestly reading the Srimad Bhagavatam daily.
What are you talking to me personally, or are you reading this from something? Well, my recommendation for you is you do it too.
I told you first.
I love when people just try to tell you.
No, this is a message I received. It's a message sent out by Satchidananda Swami.
Okay.
I believe you received it as
Well,
well.
that's what we're doing.
Okay.
Maharaj, we're doing that.
So my recommendation to you is that today you start earnestly reading the Srimad Bhagavatam daily. You see, this is how Vaishnavas take the Vedic culture and take it to the next level, right? It's that yes, we accept Vedic astrology. Yes, we accept that today is an auspicious day for beginning things, but we don't interpret that in terms of material benefit. We spiritualize it, and we engage it, and we engage with it in terms of our devotion to Lord Krishna. So he didn't say, hey, this is such an auspicious day to start something. Go out and start a new business. You're going to make a lot of money. Or go out and give charity so that you can get much more back in the form of good karma. He's saying, use this auspicious astrological circumstance in order to deepen your devotion. And you do that by saying, I'm going to start reading Srimad Bhagavatam every day. Now, this is what he says. He says, my recommendation to you is that today you start earnestly reading Srimad Bhagavatam daily, even if you can manage to read only one verse a day. Srila Prabhupada writes about this. He says,
We're done. Yeah,
What
we
do you
did.
mean
We did one. We did more than
He
one.
says, when a hungry man is given to eat, he feels satiation of hunger and the pleasure of dining simultaneously. Okay, when you eat, you feel the sensation of the satiation of hunger and the pleasure of dining, right? Oh, this is so pleasant. It's so pleasant to eat, and at the same time, my hunger is going away.
Yep.
Right. Thus, he does not have to ask whether he has actually been fed or not. He's experienced it, right? The crucial test of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is that one should get positive enlightenment by such act. And then he writes, wishing all of you the best and lots of spiritual strength, Satchidananda Swami.
Haribo. Well, you know, if you ever are having sort of a dull party or a dull date or when things are just going a little dull, just say, you know what? Let's spend 5 minutes and read from the Bhagavad Gita. Here, I've got it on my phone. And I tell you, it will just change the whole date, the party, the situation. Just inject a little Krishna into whatever you're doing and inject a little wisdom, a little truth.
Just that was the end of that date.
Hey, you know what? At least now you know that wasn't the right person for you. Right. You know what? Yes. Krishna will take away. You know who I talked to the other day? It was really nice.
Who's that?
Sherry Sobensinski.
Sherry Sobensinski.
She was like a steady Zoomer. Now she's a steady other. When steady Zoomers disappear, I worry. I worry about you.
I'm still wondering about the Golden Brown family.
The Golden Brown family.
I'm still wondering about a big time. I'm wondering about the Jolly Lama.
Yeah, Jolly Lama.
Jolly Lama, let us know. Are you still out there? Let us know that you're alive.
So I ran into Sherry Sobensinski. There are others. They're floating around there in other world. You know, we change times and we think everybody can like just change their life around our podcast. Sometimes they have to listen to recorded versions. Okay. But anyway, Sherry Sobensinski was just telling me, she said, you know, at a certain point last year, I just said, Krishna, my life is yours. Whatever you want with Krishna. And she said her whole world got completely changed, dismantled, everything. And that is the problem with surrendering, giving your life to God, that even though I have a plan for how my life will become fantastic, my plan is not so deep and well thought out. There is a greater plan that I can't perceive. And it seems like I'm really intelligent and clever and insightful. But in fact, there is a higher power that is so munificent and so benevolent that don't sweat it. Once you say, my life is in your hands, I fully trust you. Like when I get on the Amtrak train heading to New York, I'm not walking around going, are you sure this is going to New York? Are you sure? Are you positive? Don't worry. Just sit down, read the newspaper, get online. We're going to New York. We got this figured out.
Okay.
When you surrender to Krishna, he's got to figure out it can relieve your anxiety. And if there is some mixing around of things, someone leaves you or your relationship gets shaken up or you're going through some so-called crisis, you should trust that this is what you need to get to the next level. You might not see it. You might not get it. It may not make any material sense, but there is a greater plan for us. And we should trust that Krishna's got it. He's the what's it called? The engineer that drives the train.
Okay.
He knows the conductor. He's the conductor. He knows where we're taking you.
You know, I also spent a little time with Sherry Sobensinski.
You did?
Yeah, just briefly. And she expressed kind of what you're expressing to me. She didn't tell me like that. She didn't tell me that she made that declaration. Right. Yeah. This is a changing point in one's spiritual life. We dabble in spirituality. We read a book. We get involved with some group. We do this. I mean, you know, we begin to identify a little bit as a spiritual person. But there reaches a point where you say, Krishna, my life is yours now. Yeah. Right? You get to that point, and it is a fact that magic things start to happen. And she was describing like how her life has changed. She said that, you know, there's one monk in the Delaware is, you know, it's not, you know, not all the opportunities, like say I live in New York City, or what to speak of you live in Vrindavan or something like that, right? The opportunities that you have to meet someone that can really, you know, regularly inform you and inspire you and so on. But she says, yeah, in the Delaware Temple, there's a devotee there, Vrajras, right? From, he was a monk raised in the Chowpatty Temple in Mumbai.
Oh, Vrajras lives there? Yeah, he's great.
and so she said, you know, he just teaches me. I don't know if she said every day or something like that, but I could see like she's become the object of his grace in a sense, or you could say Krishna's grace through him, that I'm going to train you in all that I've learned. He was raised in a temple that gave incredibly good training, right? Philosophical training, cultural training, and so on. And he's got it, and he can share it with her. And she's just there like, okay, I'm a sponge. And, you know, like, Krishna, I'm yours. And Krishna said, okay, I'm going to connect you. Snap, you know, like a magnet, you know, you get connected. And now she's open to that grace. And just like, let's get back to the nugget, right? Like, you know, I need to be like a child again. Teach me.
Right.
Now my faith is solid. When your faith is solid, you can say, Krishna, my life is yours now. And I see over the decades, I've seen so many people when they get to that point, and it's not necessarily the person that you most expect. A person could be living in a temple and wearing the outfit and having the tilak on their face and never really come to that point. Or someone may seem like the least likely, you know, that they may seem like they're the most removed from that, and they're the most fully absorbed or entangled in material circumstances. But they may come to that point where they actually, deep in their heart, they say that, right? And they mean it with absolute sincerity. And we see Krishna works magic in their lives.
It's a scary thing, right? It's like you're on the edge of a precipice, a cliff, and you're just saying, I fully trust, and you just dive off. And that's sort of what it is. And that, because to say, I trust you, Krishna, that's like calling magic into your life right there. You know, and magically you will meet somebody. Magically people will show up in your life. Magically things will disappear from your life that you thought were solid. Magically it's going to shake up your world. And you don't say that once. You keep saying that. Today I'm yours, Krishna. Today I'm yours. Mara, do you say that? Have you ever said that? I'm yours,
Yes,
Krishna.
Do you really?
I do. I just want to know if you actually
No, I do.
checking up.
I think we could use Mara as an example, because here was Mara, you know, just doing her thing, and then like boom, like her whole life gets upturned, you know.
She did get caught up in the riptide of the Srimad Bhagavatam. She's like, well, it's the pandemic. I've got some free time. My business is shut down. The next thing you know, she's dragged out to the spiritual sea.
But even before the pandemic, right? Like she goes back to Super Soul Sacred Sangha, and you know, she had her catering business, but you know,
she was before Super Soul Sacred Sangha. She was just coming to Super Soul with Dr. Mike, and they were just like, I was up early reading to them every day.
That's what I'm saying. And that daily reading of Bhagavatam flipped everything, right?
Yeah.
It's true.
And then before long, she was saying, Krishna, my life is yours. And then things got really crazy. But she's better off for it, right? Do you feel you're better off for it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now your catering business became a vegan catering business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you offer everything that you cook? And this is an important question, man. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Oh, now you see, it's so simple. Now this is the next step.
We're gonna look at it. We're gonna see this as a sign.
This is an auspicious day to begin this. On this day, Mara began to ensure that every morsel of catering deliciosity that
all the deliciosities
that comes out of her kitchen will be offered with devotion to Radha and Krishna. What do you say, Mara? You gonna do
I
that?
agree to that.
Okay.
Boom. And now what an auspicious thing. And look at how excited Karuna is.
Karuna's happy for you.
Yes.
She's
But you got to do it now, Mara.
Oh, I understand.
Okay. No, that's going to change everything right there, you know. And now everything you do in that kitchen becomes devotional service. Everything you cook it with the mentality that I'm not just cooking for these people at this wedding, or I'm cooking for Radha and Krishna. And you make that offering with your soft heart, Mara.
This is a big Kaustubha. You hit the nail on the head here.
Well, you got me going in that direction, Raghunath.
Well, yeah, and what's going on, and not with Mara, but just with you say, today I'm yours, Krishna, and that's great, but you're going to have to say it again tomorrow, because the way Krishna works, it's like a computer. It's always going to have that drop-down box that says, it's time to upgrade the operating system. After a while, wherever you're at is good, but now it's time to upgrade to the next level.
That's right.
And what's
Always
happening
the next
is Krishna is luring us out of the material world, and a lot of you have been in this game for a while. We start to see, like, I'm a radically different person than I was a year ago. I'm a radically different person than I was. I remember where I was 3 years ago. It was a different person with different goals and different dreams and a different posse I rolled with.
Now, Raghunath, how about this? Why don't you get maybe around your home, you have a beautiful picture of Radha and Krishna, and you could gift that today to Mara.
Okay, I'll give
and then that'll be the picture that Mara offers all of her deliciosities to. What do you think?
I like that. Thanks.
But that's got to happen today.
It's on Akshaya Tritiya. Yes, let's do it.
Today. And then, Mary, then you have to actually offer them something today to get it started today.
Okay.
And give me some food.
What are you going to offer?
Prasad.
What's it going to be?
I'm not sure yet.
What about one of those pies that you're so good at?
He's good at pies.
Maybe pies. Maybe pie.
All right, that's it.
All right, that's great. Is that it? That's it. That was fast.
Takeaways.
Talked about pie too. You got any
Bye,
takeaways?
Yeah, we got a lot. We got some good ones today. I think you're gonna like these, Raghu.
Okay,
Are they good shirts?
Good.
Mugs?
You'll tell me. Bhagavatam is psychic surgery to cut out the ego.
Yes.
Material world is pruning away everything. You can get bitter or grow.
Okay.
Yeah, bitter or better.
Oh, pruning, like you prune something because it helps it grow. I get it. There's a
Yeah,
connection there.
pruning, enhancing the growth.
We were talking about that yesterday, right? Wisdom, growth, all that.
Sometimes we have to hit rock bottom to receive grace.
Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. Name that commercial.
Almond joy.
Yeah.
Well done, Mara. Well done.
See, that's my hot seat. That's what I'm good on the hot seat. Give me some commercial jingles.
Commercials from the 70s.
Sharing Bhagavatam pleases the great devotees.
It really does. It really does.
Humility is the conduit for grace.
Ooh, weird shirt, but I'd wear it.
Yeah. Vaishnavas spiritualize everything.
They do.
Including your kitchen.
Yeah. Inject a little Krishna into everything.
We need a little Krishna, just a little longer. Just we need a little Krishna.
Right this very minute. Is that what it is?
Need a little Krishna now.
The best gift we can give is spiritual direction.
Okay.
It is. It is.
Krishna is the conductor.
He's the conduit and the conductor.
Yeah.
Okay.
And call Krishna into your life and magic will happen.
That's the big one for today, I think.
Boom. Boom. It's a magical day for a magical day.
Start something auspicious and devotional today, everybody.
Yes. Thanks, everybody. What a beautiful day it is. And it will be. Let's invite magic into our lives. It's there. We're magical beings. We're not ordinary persons meant to just live and work in assembly lines and wake up and go to sleep and intoxicate ourselves. Call magic into your life right now. Call spirit into your life. You can do it. Just make that declaration. From this moment on, I give my life to spirit. I give my life to sweet baby Krishna. From this moment on,
I give my life to Raghunath. Direct me. From this day on.
Hey, if you guys like what we're doing, this is a community-sponsored podcast. And if you like what we're doing, you go to wisdomofthesages.com. No, you go to patreon.com/wisdomofthesages, and you give your little monthly contribution. That means one day a week you can't go to Starbucks, and you can throw that money our way and help keep this boat floating. If you really like it, then you skip Starbucks 3 days a week. You can't get that $6 sometimes for a drink at Starbucks. You ever spend the money? I did that when I was in Charlotte, when I got laid over in Charlotte, and I called Uber Eats. I was like, you know what? I missed my flight. I'm going to call Uber Eats. And it was so bad, my Uber Eats. And I was like, you know what? I could have given this $40, whatever I spent to charity. I should have just fasted and given $40 to charity to somebody who needed it. Instead
Why don't you do that
Uber
today?
Eats.
We're going to fast and give in charity today.
It seems like Kaustubha's giving out a lot of orders on.
I was supposed to make pie for Raghu today.
She's got to make pie. I got to give her a painting. What are you going to do today?
I don't know.
What's your
You know what I'm going to do?
auspicious
I
beginning?
tell you what I'm going to do. What I'm going to start today, Raghunath. You ready?
Okay.
This is big.
Feed a cow. Go find a cow and feed a cow.
I may
today.
do that, but I'm going to do something else. Is today I want to officially inaugurate a new birth of a system of care, spiritual care for Wisdom of the Sages listeners.
Okay, I've got an idea too. Go to Central Park. Those horses that drag people around, those carts, in horrible conditions. Go
Give it an apple.
liberate one of those horses. Go get one of those horses. Give
You
him
mean
some
like break
hay.
it free?
Break it free. Say you're free now. Go.
That's dangerous.
That's what you can
arrested.
do today. That's what I
Here,
want you
everything
to
I
do.
asked you to do was legal, Raghunath.
You know, there's the laws of man, the laws of God. Liberate those horses in the name of God.
In the name of God.